When most people think of a personal brand, they think it's about posting random shit on LinkedIn, dancing on TikTok, or posting a picture with your friends on Instagram. That's basically putting out content for no reason. In reality, it's much harder than that. There's a lot of moving pieces you need to consider if you want results from your content. Most founders are only doing one part of the process, but a personal brand has 3 layers behind it. It is an entire ecosystem that takes your audience member from stranger to client. That ecosystem is exactly what I'm going to break down for you today. By the end of this video, you'll have an understanding of all 3 layers that will help you generate attention, nurture that attention, and monetize that attention. If you're creating content but don't have underlying systems, you are simply entertaining strangers. Generating attention is only the first part of the process. Most founders miss layers 2 and 3, which are nurturing and monetizing your audience. Let's go through them one by one. Layer 1, attention. Getting in front of the right people consistently. This is the foundation. Without attention, nothing else works. Everything is downstream of it. Layer 2 is nurturing, turning that attention into trust. You need to give your audience member somewhere to go. Attention means nothing if your audience has nowhere to go. This is the layer most people don't think about, and it's usually the reason why great content doesn't translate into cash in the bank. The goal of layer 2 is to take someone from social media follower to email subscriber. You want to deplatform the audience because your social media following is rented. If the algorithm changes tomorrow and your reach is gone, you are at the mercy of the algorithm. But your email list is owned, and owned audiences convert. There are 6 components to this layer. Number 1, your website. Your website is your home base. It's where people go to validate you. It needs to clearly communicate who you are, who you help, and what happens when people work with you. The second part is a newsletter. A newsletter builds trust over time in a way social media can't. The reason is long-form content adds more value, provides more depth, and gives people a reason to work with you. Subscribers are typically a more engaged audience than your social media followers, and the most important part is that they convert better. The main metrics you want to look at here are email list size, open rates, click-through rates, with the click-through rates being the most important. A newsletter is the highest leverage thing you can add to your ecosystem right now. At Lever Brands, 80% of the opportunities generated for our clients come through the newsletter. Most people think that it's the content that creates the opportunities, but in reality, you post the content, people subscribe to your newsletter for more value, and after taking that value for 8, 10, 12 weeks, then they will be ready to buy from you. That is the main source of lead generation for our business, and it should be the main source for yours too. Next, we have the lead magnets. A lead magnet is a resource that you give your audience for free in exchange for their email. I'll give you an example. We worked with one client and he speaks to CMOs. All of his content revolves around CMOs pain points, CMO KPIs, and things along those lines. We created a lead magnet for him that was a slide deck for CMOs to take into boardrooms to present to the CEO and the CFO. That resource works because it solves a niche problem for a broad audience of all CMOs. We were able to collect over 2,000 emails in less than 3 months, and were able to directly book calls as a result of this free resource that we provided his audience. The key thing with a lead magnet is that you need to make it immediately useful. A lot of people waste time creating lead magnets that they think their audience wants, but in reality, they don't provide immediate value, and sometimes no value at all. If your lead magnet is an ebook that you copy-pasted from ChatGPT, no one is going to find it useful. If you think about the exact problem your audience is struggling with and create a resource for that problem, that is when you will get results. A lead magnet is one of the best ways to deplatform your audience from social media platforms, to collect their emails, and then directly feeds into your newsletter, which they will receive weekly or every other week because they subscribe to your newsletter. The next part of the nurturing layer is webinars. Webinars are one of the most powerful tools in this layer. It lets you share your story and connect with people on a human level while teaching them content live and in depth. This format forms a layer of trust that an email or a social media post cannot replicate. I'll give you an example of how this works in practice. When we post content for Donnelly, that content usually drives attention to a webinar which we run weekly. When people sign up to the webinar or grab any of Chris's lead magnets, they get auto-added to the next live webinar. We provide so much value that the audience ends up actually buying from us. You are of course supposed to structure your webinar in a way that provides a lot of value, but not your entire solution. You can also use tricks like a webinar only discount or a webinar only bonus that can ensure people actually join your webinar live. Also, don't forget about post-webinar sequences, reminding people of the value you gave them, offering them additional resources and tips, and then they might buy from you 7, 10, 12 days later. Layer 3, monetization. This is where you convert all the attention and all the trust into revenue. Every single personal brand that drives opportunities and results has all 3 layers working together. This is where the ecosystem starts paying off. But the most common mistake people make, even at this stage, is that they have one offer that they try to sell to everyone, regardless of where that person is in their journey. Someone who found you last week is not ready to buy a $3,000 program from you, but they might be ready to invest in a $20 guide or a free resource. Someone who has been on your newsletter for months and attended a webinar and DM'd you twice, they might be ready for your highest ticket offer. When it comes to monetization, you need offers that cater to them all based on their awareness levels and their pain points. Segmentation is the part that sits between layers 2 and 3 and is one of the most commonly forgotten parts of building an ecosystem. Segmentation simply means tagging the emails that you are collecting to understand who that person is, what they do, what pain points they struggle with, and what is their biggest barrier to working with you. Those are the most common questions you can ask people when they sign up to your resource, so that you can tailor the advice you give them later on based on exactly what they're struggling with. To give you an example of that, when you sign up to our Lever Brands newsletter, we ask you a few questions. We know that most people won't take time out of their day to answer questions for no reason, and so we offer a free bonus if people answer these questions. The bonus we give is a great case study on how we took a client from 2K to 100K followers. And you can only get that resource if you answer our segmentation questionnaire. Some of the questions we ask are your biggest pain points, the size of your team, how ready you are to invest in your personal brand. And based on the answers, that audience member is directed to a landing page with exactly the information he or she needs to see in order for them to convert. They also receive email sequences based on exactly the information they gave us. So if someone wants to grow their business, they will receive a different newsletter than if someone wants to grow their audience. And by tailoring that information, we are building more trust and ensuring that that person is more likely to buy from us down the line. Now back to monetization. The monetization has 3 tiers. So when you're collecting emails and deplatforming your audience, try to keep this in mind. First, you have your low ticket offers. Ebooks, templates, guides, things that are easy to say yes to and get that initial commitment. This is important because when someone buys from you once, they are psychologically more likely to buy from you again. Low ticket offers won't make you millions of dollars, but what they will do is get your audience to make that first initial commitment. The second tier is medium ticket offers. These are courses, cohorts, workshops, things along those lines. This is for people who already trust you and are ready to commit a bit more money to work with you. They want more of an experience than the low ticket offer. For the high ticket offer, this is where you reach the one-on-one coaching, done for you offers, speaking gigs, and so on. In order to sell a high ticket offer, it is very unlikely that someone will see your LinkedIn post for the first time and then spend $10,000 with you. You need to take them through that offer ladder, get them to commit to a low ticket item, then something a bit more expensive, and then when they know that they can get value from you, they will be ready to invest thousands of dollars. The best example I have of this is for Chris Donnelly. Chris has a low ticket offer for $49, which is a Notion operating system. He then has a medium ticket offer around $699, which is a digital business blueprint. And then he has a high ticket offer, which is his Creator Accelerator cohort program. If you buy the low ticket offer for $49, you will receive an email sequence that explains to you the value of taking the next step to the mid-tier offer. And the same thing happens from mid-tier to high-tier. This is how we have a sales funnel that continuously brings people in from social media platforms, nurtures them through lead magnets and newsletters, and eventually, when they're ready to buy, based on who they are, how ready they are to invest with you, and what pain points they have, we have a selection of offers that suits every person's requirements. Let's zoom out back to the personal brand ecosystem and look at specifically what happens if someone isn't ready to buy from you yet. The answer is simple. They simply go back into layer 2, the nurturing layer. They will continue to receive your resources, your newsletter, you keep nurturing them, you keep showing up until they're eventually ready to buy. The ecosystem is a long-term relationship building system, and that's why it works in the background wherever you are, whether you're posting on multiple platforms or just one. The main thing you want to track here is how many people are progressing from layer 1 to layer 2, and similarly from layer 2 to layer 3. For example, monitor your click-through rates on LinkedIn to look at how many people are moving from LinkedIn to whatever landing page you are linking to. If you can't get enough people on your landing page, most likely the problem is with your content. It is not appealing to the pain points of your ideal client profile. If you're getting people onto the landing page, but they're not buying from you, that's probably an issue with the landing page itself or how much you've nurtured that person. Once you get them onto that landing page and committed to your lead magnet or offer, then you want to look at how many people are segmenting themselves. Typically, a segmentation opt-in percentage over 60% is considered a success. However, this depends entirely on your ideal client profile. If you aren't able to get people to answer your segmentation questionnaire, change the bonus. Change it to something that will get them to actually commit to answering those questions. And finally, on the monetization front, before you start creating products left, right, and center, speak to your audience, send out a newsletter testing out ideas for new products or services, ask your audience what it is they need more help with, and structure your product based on that. One of the most common mistakes is assuming what your audience needs, building a product for no one, and then blaming your personal brand and your LinkedIn content because you haven't been able to sell anything. So let's zoom out and look at the full picture one last time. Layer 1 is where you generate attention through social media platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and so on. Layer 2 is where you nurture that attention and build more trust through your website, your newsletter, and lead magnets. Layer 3 is where you convert that trust to low, medium, and high ticket offers. When all three are working together, that is when you get results. Your personal brand starts working for you and not against you. If you want to start building your layer 1 of the ecosystem, check out the LinkedIn starter pack in the description below, where we'll give you everything you need to generate attention on LinkedIn. Catch you in the next one.